Great.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. And as usual with all my podcasts, I have my special guest, Fran Franzese. Now, for those of us that are just tuning into my channel for the first time and don't know who she is, Fran is the daughter of Nicholas Franzese, aka Nicky Gary. Now, he was a member of the Genovese crime family way back in the 60s and 70s, up until his
He
murder.
started in the 30s.
And he started in the 30s. Okay.
He was a kid when he started it.
In the 30s to 1974, September of that year, which is a very important date for Fran, as her father went missing, never to be seen or heard from again until her and I met, until July 18th, 2023. I went to the East River with a dive team and recovered a vehicle which we both believe contained Fran's dad's remains, which is I don't want to really get into this story too much, but there's plenty of videos that you got to check out. Fran and I will be returning to that scene under the 59th Street Bridge in April, and we're going to search for we're going to raise the car. Well, that's what my goal really is, to raise it and contact the proper authorities like we did. So there's many videos. Check it out in the back so you know who this lady is. So Fran is here today because she was in the mafia. I mean, there's no other way of putting it. She lost her dad when she was 16, and now we believe we found him, 50 years later. This is an incredible story that we both believe is going to wind up being a feature film. There's no doubt. I mean, there's no doubt. It's incredible. So I encourage everyone that doesn't know what I'm talking about to check out the back videos so you can understand, and look forward to April, which is only 3 months away from the time of this recording. And we'll be back in New York. Fran's coming with the dive team.
Have to fly in. Yeah, we'll all be there.
Yeah, we're all going to be there. Okay. So, but today we're going to be talking about Michael Franzese. Now, I also did several videos about this subject, and I want to go on record to say I'm not trying to hurt the guy, which I can't. The guy's got a million gazillion subscribers, making all kinds of money off his channel. And why shouldn't he? He is one of the most interesting mob guys that ever lived. I mean, this guy has got some fantastic stories, but the story that I feel is most interesting is the story that has not really been told. Oh, it's been told all right, but not truthfully. And I am going to quote him out again. Michael, anyway, the most interesting story in Michael Franzese's life, I believe, and don't forget, I was a paid confidential informant with the FBI for 30 years. So who knows better about these things than me? Who knows better about deals than me? And that brings us to his deal. Well, let me back up a little bit. So I believe that the most interesting story that ever happened to Michael Franzese is how he got out of prison 2 years before his sentence was up. That's what happened. And he cooperated, and he admits it, but he doesn't want to admit it truthfully. And this is because I know how the system works. I've seen many, many deals happen through a two-way glass in an interview room after somebody I arrested was in there. I know that for every cooperating witness, every confidential informant, that they tailor their deal around their potential informant or cooperating witnesses' needs. That's what they do. And boy, do they work miracles, i.e. Sammy the Bull Gravano, 19 murders, 5 years in jail. That was the deal of all deals. So, being who I am, I was a big fan of Michael Franzese. I would watch all his videos but when it came to him explaining his deals, it didn't ring true to me. And why would it? No deal works the way he claims his does. His did. Now, a month ago, he came out with a video trying to explain himself because this other mobster guy, Joey Merlino, did I pronounce it right? Merlino? Joey Merlino, a mob guy from Philadelphia, opened up a YouTube channel. And what is he doing? He's calling out all the rats. He's gonna have rat of the week, rat of the month, rat of the year, which I want. Hey, Joey Merlino, if you're watching, make me rat of the month, you punk. That's what he is. He's just a little skinny little crap. Anyway,
Tell them why he's a punk. Tell them why he's a punk, what he said.
Okay, so although I am upset with Michael Franzese, I believe I know who he is, as we all do. He's a very charismatic guy. The stories that he tells are all true. Every one of them I don't find fault with, except the deal one, which he's lying. So the other day, I watched this punk, Joey Merlino has a YouTube channel, and he's going around exposing rats. Now, there was a lot of people, myself included, that were cooperating witnesses or confidential informants that turned state's evidence against their crime partners and friends and brothers and mothers and who knows. So what's the point of this guy? Like, he goes, this guy's a rat. He goes, Michael Franzese is a rat. And if he's a rat, his father, Sonny Franzese, is a rat too. You punk. You faggot. That just set me off, because nothing could be further than the truth. That man, Sonny Franzese, told the government to go F themselves after they threatened him with 50 years in prison. And he did 50 years in prison. He came out only to live 3 or 4 years and to die of natural causes at 103. And who does this punk think he is to say that about that man who was anything but? So Michael Franzese is a very smooth, charismatic guy, and I tried to reach out to him several times, and he ignored me because I have a little channel. I got a little channel. I just got a little channel. Who knows? But anyway, he ignored me, as he ignores everyone. But he didn't ignore that comment, that's for sure. And you could see Michael Franzese. I think he used the comment was, "You couldn't shine my father's shoes," which is true. This little skinny punk. I mean, I'm going to go into him a little bit more. But I wanted to talk about Michael Franzese, but now I'm so pissed off about what that guy said about this man who everyone respects, who everyone in his time respected, and that still do. There's a lot of old school guys that are still alive out there. And this moron, Joey Merlino, you moron, he does his videos. He lives in Boca Raton, Florida. And he does his videos in some restaurant that he actually makes a commercial out of during his videos. He tells everybody what the best meals are. And he's in this fucking restaurant. He names by name in Boca Raton. Well, if I was you there, Joey boy, little skinny wimp, I'd fucking smack you with a backhand, you little punk. Oh, I just like, I hate people that's got a big mouth. Now I understand he was a real tough guy in his time. All 150 pounds of them, I'm just so anyway, he does these videos at this restaurant. He names the restaurant, and he goes there every day. And let me tell you something, Joey, there's a lot of people that are really pissed off. Now, I've never met Michael Franzese. I don't know him personally, but everyone, even the good guys, the cops, FBI agents that I worked with that spoke about Sonny Franzese, when he's this, that, and the other thing, but they take their hat off to him because he is what he is. He's the true, real man. You couldn't shine that guy's shoe there, Joey boy. You couldn't shine his shoes, just like Michael Franzese said. So Michael got really pissed off. You could see him. He does a video and he fucking tells him that after Michael and Sammy the Bull Gravano both invited him on their platform to help him go. They all wished him well. And he responds to, "You're a rat, and I'm going to make you rat it away." Listen, hey, Joey, there's no, Michael Franzese, Sammy the Bull Gravano makes no bones about their cooperation and that they did what they had to do, as everybody with a fucking brain does. What am I going to do? Anybody, any mobster, any criminal out there that thinks that if their crime gets popped and they get away, that he's not going to flip, you're out of your mind. Now, let me ask you guys a question. How many people do you think out of the 300 that I locked up, how many of those people do you think didn't cooperate? Time's up. Time's up. Out of 300, only 3 told, and they were DEA case, told the DEA to go F themselves. Out of those 3, 2 only had immediate family members to give up. So you really can't even really count them. Only 1 told the DEA, "You know what, pal? What comes around goes around. I'll do my time." And he did. He went to prison. So there are very few men like that guy and Sonny Franzese. Like, what the hell? The most respected mobster there ever was. I mean, even John Gotti, of course, never snitched. He went and did his time. But John Gotti had nobody to snitch on because he's John Gotti. There was no deal for John Gotti. All right, so having said that, the most interesting story in Michael Franzese's life is the story that he doesn't want to talk about. There were several interviews that pressed him about it. And you tell then he loses his cool. Mr. Cool, Calm, and Collective loses his cool. And Michael, I'm sorry I'm doing this. I like you. And who wouldn't? Who wouldn't like a guy like him? But, I can't get past the fact, and I've done 3 videos on this story, but today you're going to hear it from the horse's mouth about his cooperation deal, and what he's saying happened is not true. There's no other way to put it. And, Michael was raised by Sonny Franzese. Now, Sonny Franzese, as I just told you, told the government to go F themselves and did 50 years and survived his sentence and lived on 4 years past that. So this guy, Michael Franzese, was raised by him. That rats. Now, Fran was in organized crime after her father went away. And what do you think of cooperating witnesses and informants, Fran? What you
Stand them.
there you go. Probably can't stand me either, but she deals. We're sort of like in this thing together. But I understand that. I understand. Although I never put anybody in prison in my place, I was a paid confidential informant. That's different. There's all kinds of different reasons why people cooperate. I did it because I love the power. I love and there's 2 books written about me right there. Cop Without a Badge. You can read it all about me. And there's 2 versions of it. But it was an exciting job. Paid a lot of money. I had a great time. Greatest time of my life. But a month ago, Fran and I, Michael Franzese did a video a month ago that Fran and I just saw last night, where he goes into great detail because now this guy, Joey Merlino, is supposed to be exposing all these informants. Expose them. They already said that what they did. How are you going to expose them? So anyway, Michael goes into great detail. Now, he was in a prison, I forget the name of it, in California, doing his time. It was a good prison, federal prison. He was getting his visits from his girlfriend or his wife or whatever. Everything was going well until one day they pulled him out of the cell and they took him to Oklahoma. Then they took him to Chicago. And the next thing you know, he's testifying in a trial against Norby Walters. Norby Walters was a some kind of an agent for um, uh, uh, actors or musicians or whatever, and he was shaking them down. And nobody Walters gets arrested for shaking down his clients and threatening them with Michael Franzese and Sonny Franzese's name. Like, if you don't give me money, they're going to come and kill you. So anyway, according to Michael, this guy's on trial and he agrees to testify against him because the government gave them a subpoena, so he had to testify. Well, I testified in only 2 trials. One was a triple murder, one was a DEA trial. And nobody had to give me no subpoena. They gave me a date and time, told me where to show up. But I testified in hundreds of grand juries where I went there. Nobody's ever given me a subpoena. And he's trying to tell his audience that because he got the subpoena, he had to go. Well, all you got to do to thwart a subpoena is I don't remember, I don't recall, or I assert my Fifth Amendment privilege. And that's it. If giving somebody a subpoena actually worked the way Michael explains it, then all he would have to do is walk up to John Gotti or Persico. Here's a subpoena, come to court and tell me everything. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work. As I said before, Michael Franzese was raised by Sonny. That was his father. And he instilled in him a rat, So Michael, I don't expect he'll ever admit that he okay, then let's talk about his cooperation agreement. I've seen them all. And no 2 are alike. You make a plea agreement with the United States Attorney's Office, and you have a contract. You have everything in writing. What's expected of you, and if you don't fulfill your obligations to that contract, which is what it is, then you go back to jail. That's all there is to it. You go straight back to jail. I have never, ever, ever heard of this is his deal. He had a 1-year cooperation agreement with a guy by the name of Ed McDonald. Ed McDonald was the U.S. attorney out of the Eastern District in New York. That's a Brooklyn courthouse. So he had a deal. The deal was made with him. For a whole year, he basically had to be that USA's bitch. Do whatever the fuck he wants. Now, Michael, part of that plea agreement was that he would to pay back $14 million and a fine, and he never did that at all. I think all he paid was $100,000 out of the $14 million, about a house that he owned out in Long Island. So he didn't. They forgot about that. And let me tell you something: the government, when it comes to money, don't forget about anything. So he must have went above and beyond in the year that he was a CW, confidential cooperating witness, or was he a CI? I don't know. All I know is that now let me tell you something else. All I know is that I've never heard such a deal in my life of putting a time limit. Usually what the government will do is say, you got to testify against Persico. You got to be truthful. If anything, if you so much as be found out to saying one lie, they rip up the deal and you go back to prison. That's the way it is. And they're very strict. And nobody gets the best end of the deal than the United States government. Nobody gets the best deal but them, okay? So he goes on to say in this video that he did last month that he circle jerked the government, and then Ed McDonald's squad that they were on, the task force, was dissolved, and this FBI agent, who he won't name, pulled him on the side and said, listen, just jerk him for a year. You're going to get a year's cooperation agreement. Just jerk him for a year, and then when that comes up, you'll be scot-free. That would never happen. Okay, so now, those are all the reasons why I believe that he was lying. I knew he wasn't telling the truth about his cooperation agreement. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold up an interview, my phone, and it's going to have Ed McDonald being interviewed, I think it was 1991, about Michael Franzese's cooperation agreement.
In 1986, got caught, was sent to prison, but he didn't stay there. Franzese cut a deal. He would talk and pay a $14 billion fine. Government would set him free. Stop me when I'm wrong, okay? He was supposed to pay the government $14 million. He hasn't paid anything near $14 million. That's right. There's not a single mafioso behind bars because of anything Michael Franzese told you. Is that correct? Well, there are people who are in prison based on information Michael provided, but no mafia types. Yeah, that's not. Well, there are. There's at least one. Frank Campione, who was a chauffeur for his father. A chauffeur and a Chicago agent who wasn't even in the mob. He was also supposed to give the government his Long Island estate, but it's not in his name, and the government has yet to collect.
Okay. Who do you believe? Michael's fairy tale cooperation agreement or the United States attorneys, right out of his own mouth? Now, let's look at this. So this guy, technology never works with me. Frank Campanella. This is the guy that got charged for 1998 murder, who's in prison. Now, this is not coming from me. This is coming from the United States attorney that created that cooperation deal. I feel kind of bad, to tell you the truth, because Michael Franzese is he's the guy you wish you had as a neighbor next door. He's the guy that you would love to have in your circle of friends. But there's something, I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I always instilled in her, never lie. You might find yourself in a situation where a lie will let you off the hook now. But for every lie you tell, there's going to be 100 more you're going to have to tell to protect that lie or to keep that lie going. And that's where Michael Franzese now finds himself, because what I just showed you has never been done on YouTube or anything else. But you would have to agree with my conclusion that he's not telling the truth. I don't think he could ever bring himself to tell the truth after the way he was raised by his dad, Sonny. And to you, Michael, Joey Merlino, you're a piece of shit. And if I ever bumped into you, one of us would be running. And I could tell you right now, it ain't going to be me. And again, I don't even know these people. I've never had the pleasure of meeting Sonny.
But they're pissing you off, aren't they, Kevin?
No, it just there's nothing more that, you know, I have a pretty big TV that I watch my YouTube channels on. I'm in there with my big TV, my surround sound, and I'm into the friggin' thing. And when I can't even watch Michael's channel anymore, and I'm missing a bunch of great stories, all because of this one lie that he now has to keep defending himself. Michael, just go, you know what? I was raised by my father. He taught us to hate and kill. Kill. That's what he taught you to do. Informant over there, kill him. If I was ever discovered in my undercover work, that if I was ever discovered, if they ever said, okay, there's 3 people that had to be the ones that snitched, you know what the mob would do? They would kill all 3 of us. You'd never see it come. It would go 3 of us. So that's the kind of background Michael Franzese was brought up in about informants. Right or wrong, I got Fran here. Fran, thank you so much for listening to this. But now I'm going to get off my high.
Okay, Kevin, I take tranquilizers before we come on.
I don't know. She picks on me all the time. Do I dare say anything? No. And you know why?
He's scared. He's as scared of me.
She's a
Stop calling me a princess.
I remember going to clubs back in the
They
80s.
weren't princesses. Those were
Oh, they
gourmands.
were princesses.
No,
You're
no.
right. Even these chicks, we used to call them Guidettes. Like you'd have the Guido,
Yeah, I'm
the
sure.
Guidettes.
I'm sure.
So you could always tell a Guidette from a mob princess because when those bitches they would always pull up in white limos, get out, and when the bouncer didn't pull the rope thing off, they were fucking, they get them. So there's a mob princess, and then sure enough, we would find out that's Persico's daughter, or the fucking. We would find out, but you could always tell they had their hair. Remember
Those are
back in the
girls.
80s?
Those are girls from Brooklyn. Those were
No,
girls.
but the girls from Brooklyn were online. The mob princesses went right up. They didn't get on the
Oh
line.
no, I get that. I
They,
get
they
that.
wanted it, and they got in too. I
course
saw
they
the
did.
one beat the crap out of this big black bouncer. The guy must have been 7 foot tall, had a hand that he could conceal a basketball. She was slapping the shit, and he was holding her back. He was clawing him with shit. But anyway,
We were
I'm
taught not to behave that way.
well. You were taught this everything that you wanted. You got a green light on. So they were spoiled.
All we had to do was make a phone call. We didn't have to act out.
They didn't have cell phones back then, but it was so funny. We would watch them. But anyway, so Fran, what's your take on now, Fran? Your dad and Sonny, both in the mob in New York, and they're both the same age. Do you ever remember? You know what he looks like now? He was a very good-looking guy, Sonny in his heyday. He was a good-looking guy. Do you remember ever seeing him come to the house?
No. Nobody came to our house. Nobody was allowed to come to our house.
All right. Well, so then there you go. But that's why I wanted. And so, what do you think of Francese's story?
I really just think that there's more to the story than he's saying. Probably, look, the estate wasn't in his name. He's a smart guy.
No, I think he
He put it in a trust. He put it in somebody else's name. I mean, all of our things, even our cars, were in somebody else's name.
But he still owes
never had-
14 million. He still owed the government. The government said you own 14 million. And I guess when they went to try to take the house, they couldn't, but they never bothered him again for the money.
Well, you don't know that. You don't know that because
I do know it from an
Didn't say
agent. Oh, I know it from an agent way back that they was talking about the 14 million that he owed that he just didn't pay. So, I mean, it's hearsay, but everything I presented to my viewers, you viewers out there, is all the truth, and it's backed up by. I'm actually showing you, or you can hear it from the horse's mouth. The man that wrote his plea agreement was Ed McDonald. The one that approved it was Ed McDonald. The one that got him out of jail was Ed McDonald. And that all that others. And then if you go on to his YouTube channel, it was a month ago where he tries to explain. After my viewers look at what I just said, then look what he said last month. And it all this came out over this guy Joey Merlino. A piece of shit. The guy's just a piece of shit. And you know what? I was always very good at looking past my nose, no matter what I did, whether it be undercover work or in business. I always would look down. If I make this move, what's going to happen down there? What's going to happen the next move? And the move after that, and the move after that. I was always pretty spot on. And what I see with this guy, Joey, something bad's going to happen. He's in that friggin' restaurant. He told everyone where he is, and in a defiant way. And then let me end this video with this. All these YouTubers are all pissed off at this guy. They're all pissed off. He comes across like who the fuck he is. One of them says they have a picture of Mr. Tough Guy dressed in drag. Dressed in drag? Could this be? I mean, can you imagine
That
that?
would be interesting. I want to see it.
I want to see it. Whoever's got that thing, I should put a
Talk about disrespect and
I-
then getting caught. Oh, that's
unbelievable.
such a karma payback.
Let me tell you something, Joey Merlino. You can't bullshit. You know all these mob guys. They went through their whole life bullshitting people. Like, okay, that's it, and don't dare challenge what I just said. He's one of them. This guy in his heyday was a tough guy. When he got like 20 guys behind him with fucking guns, yeah, he's a tough guy. Now he's a skinny little ass convicted felon. He can't carry a gun. He could have a gun. But let me tell you something. Someone's going to go look up there. If he was in New York and Brooklyn or any place like that, and he said that the first ex-mob guy, or even a regular guy like me, would walk up and slap him in the face. Hey, I'm 210. No 150 squirt's gonna fucking do anything. I'll take his shots all day long. I would just like to meet him, just to backhand him. I wouldn't even bitch slap him. Just give him a good fucking bitch slap, right? Have my handprint on his fucking face, you punk. You fucking he's. Do you really think you're scaring anybody, Joey Merlino? Do you really think you're scaring anybody? You ain't scaring me, and I'm not a tough guy. I'm just a regular guy. I'm no tough guy. But there's plenty of tough guys that are still alive that rolled with Sonny Franzese Sr. And now you told them where you are. Let's let karma take over from here. Anyway, Fran, thanks so much for listening to me ramble on. Is there anything else that you'd like to? Would you like to mention about your the organization about missing adults? I think we would want to hear that.
Okay, so I have a platform on TikTok. It's called the UFFMUC, and it stands for United Missing People that need to come together to place a federal law with me. I'm trying to place a federal law that all missing adults need to be found. There is no law. As a matter of fact, from the Kearney Police Department, they sent me a paper with a law on it stating that they don't even have to look for my father, which they never have, by the way. No investigation. No investigation, which really, really, really pisses me off, because the other two people that were missing from Kearney were never looked for either. So if you have a missing person in your family, and I don't care what my father did for a living, I don't care if he was a junkie, I don't care if he was a hooker. He was a human being with feelings, and he was a great guy. Yeah, what he did for a living, that was his business. I never knew what he really did. And you would never know what he really did because he didn't brag. However, he deserves to be looked for. Yeah. Your family needs to be looked for. Your child needs to be looked for. People think that these policemen are looking for them. They're in a desk file somewhere. They put the file in the back room after 3 weeks. I know, because I've been through this. I advocate for the missing. I've been from there. People cry. I cry with them. It's disgusting how we are treated. And I want to change that. So please go to TikTok, the UFFMUC, and look at the people that we've posted. See if you notice anything about these people, or if you know anybody that knows anything about them. Let's try to solve the people that have been missing that nobody's looked for. And let's try to place a federal law together, because the government right now is so, with this election, nobody really gives a shit about each other. The world is falling apart. Our country is falling apart. Can we unite on something? Please, I beg you guys, we need to come together as a country. We need to come together, black and white. We need to come together, period, and stick together, or we're going to lose.
I want my viewers to just put themselves in your shoes for a minute. You're 16 years old. You kissed your father goodbye. You saw him get into his car and drive off. And that was September 1974. And you haven't heard from him yet. Couldn't give him a burial. Didn't know. And I understand that the first year of this guy going missing. I mean, this is an incredible story that I don't want to get sucked into and tell. There's plenty of videos from me and Fran that will explain what this woman and her mother who is since passed away, God rest her soul, went through. I mean, it's one thing when you get the call, your loved one is dead, an accident, a murder, whatever. But I couldn't imagine the mental torture of not knowing what happened to him. In April, we're going back to New York, and the dive team is gonna confirm one way or the another if we're gonna search for remains first under the water, and then I'm gonna ask them to just pull the car out. Now that I know who it is in there, who I strongly, we both believe it's got to be him for a whole bunch of reasons. But now the FBI has an open case on him. So instead of dicking around with NYPD, and when you see the video, you'll see how they treated me, how they treated the whole situation. But now we have Fran, and she has a missing persons report with the FBI. So now the FBI, we're going to involve them in this when we go back in only just 3 months. So stay tuned. Fran, as usual, thank you so much. And I do pray for your father's soul.
Thank you.
And I
Thank
just
you.
pray that for me. Now, don't forget now, I unknowingly, when I took that car to dump it in the river, I didn't know there was a body in there until I was well on my way to on the Van Wyck when I smelt the decomposing body. And so sometimes it's very uncomfortable for me to even look Fran in the eye to think that I may have been the one that took her father's remains and put him in a river. And again, the chances of us finding that car, even though I knew where I parked it 50 years ago, was 1 in a million, but we did. Check out the video. And with that, Fran, once again, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome, Kevin.
putting
Thank
up with
you.
me. And God bless you. And Happy New Year to everyone. And I'm sorry I didn't get a video up in a while, but I had some issues, health issues. So anyway, I'm going to say goodbye to all yous, and God bless you all, and see you on the next one.